Hi friends, and welcome back to another video. So today I decided to take on the Get to Know My Taste tag. Thank you so much to Literary Michelle for tagging me to do this. I'll leave her channel tag down below. I'm so excited to take on this tag. I think that it is really interesting to get to know people's reading tastes and learn things about them and what they like and don't like in books. The first question is, how do you rate books? Give a quick rundown of how you do your star ratings or how you evaluate books. So I do evaluate with the star rating system. I usually use 1 through 5, but sometimes I will use quarter stars and half stars as well. I don't often give 1-star ratings. Usually if it's a 1-star rating for me, it's one that I DNF. So it's a book that I just didn't finish, so it doesn't get a rating. If I do finish it, it means that I absolutely hated that book and I really don't see the merit in the book at all. It's one that I would not recommend to anyone, a major waste of time, and it's probably one that I wouldn't even want my worst enemies to read. For a 2-star book, it usually means that I strongly dislike the book. There were maybe 1 or 2 promising aspects of it, but they just didn't realize that potential, and I just came away from the story feeling very disappointed. And then I obviously have, my quarter and half-star ratings, depending on how much I enjoyed certain aspects or how much I strongly disliked other aspects of the story. I think 3 stars books and above are really solid books. So 3 stars means that I actually enjoyed it. It's a solid read, and maybe it wasn't completely to my taste, but there wasn't anything that I found inherently wrong with it, and I would recommend it to certain groups of people and people that like certain types of things. Anything that's above a 2.5 or 2.75, I do find that I can recommend to certain groups of people, even if I didn't vibe with it personally. 4-star ratings are books that I really enjoy. This is a really high rating for me, and usually there's just 1 or 2 things that didn't really work for me well, or that just didn't meet my expectations. But overall, I had a great time with the story. It's one that I would recommend pretty broadly, and it's one that I think a lot of people would enjoy. And then 5-star reads are reserved for books that are my absolute favorites. So many books end up in the 4.5 to 4.75 range because they're really great, but I don't know if they really make it to my absolute favorite list, and those are where my 5-star reads are. These are my ones that can do almost no wrong. I will recommend these to anyone and everyone, and I cannot stop talking about them. These are also the books that I will generally go back and reread. Between my 4.25, 4.5 star books and my 5-star books, those are the ones that I will go back and reread. All right, and then the next question is, how do you approach reviewing books? And are you an analytical, emotional, casual, or structured reviewer? I think I try to be as rational as I possibly can when I'm reviewing books, but I'm not overtly analytical unless there is some deeper meaning, deeper theme, or something that the book is really trying to hammer home with its audience. Then I will try to be a little bit more analytical and analyze just the message behind it. For books that are a little bit more about entertainment and don't have so many deep themes and topics that they're trying to discuss, I do it based more on my feelings and emotions, and they have a little bit less structure because I just want it to be more about how I connected to it. As I was saying, but if the story is really trying to tell you something about how children of immigrants have trouble adjusting to a new culture or something deeper like that, then obviously I will be a little bit more analytical with my review for sure. All right, and then the next question is, what is a book that made you a reader? Whether it was your favorite or the one that got you hooked, what book started it all? And as a child, there are a few different books that made me a reader. There are books like the Magic Treehouse series, A Series of Unfortunate Events series, the Land of Stories series that really got me into that love of reading. A lot of them were fairy tale retellings, a lot of fantasy, but I do remember there was one book in particular when I was really little that I adored with my whole heart. I adored it so much that I would make my mom read it to me every single night. I would not let her pick another book. She would ask me, what book are we reading tonight? And it was always I Love You, Blue Kangaroo. That one is one that holds a special place in my heart. It's one that I really enjoyed, and I think that's where my love of reading really started. That was the book that ignited it all. And I would say that I stopped reading for a long time, so the books that got me back into reading are the Shadowhunter Chronicles, especially the Infernal Devices trilogy, and this trilogy is still one of my all-time favorites, and it's one that I highly recommend. All right, the next question is, do you have a genre niche? Are there certain genres you gravitate towards, or do you like to read widely across genres? And I would say that I like to read quite widely across genres. I do have a few genres that I do gravitate towards. So those would be historical fiction, fantasy, and romance, and any combination of those 3. But I like to read even more diversely and dive into some of the mysteries and thriller books that I've had on my TBR for a while. It's a goal of mine to read more genres, to read more classic books and to kind of expand my repertoire, so I'm not just getting stuck in those 3 favorite genres of mine. They're amazing, they're great, there's always gonna be books there that I love, but I don't want to miss out in other things just because I'm prioritizing my favorite genres. All right, and then the next question is, do you prefer plot-driven or character-driven stories? I definitely prefer character-driven stories. I've read books before that have very little plot, and I've enjoyed them just because I was so connected to the characters. For example, this is true of some of the Outlander books. I know that there are some books that the only reason why I pushed through was because I felt so connected to Claire, Jamie, and their children. I was in it with them, and I wanted to read more about their characters and their journeys. And I think that if I don't connect with the character, I have a very hard time reading that book. Even if the plot is very engaging and there's a lot of things going on, if I don't love the characters for some way or another, or if I don't relate to them or understand something about them, I'm not gonna have a good time reading the book, and I will most likely end up DNFing it. Okay, the next question is, what's a book you love so much that if someone doesn't like it, you know your reading tastes don't align? And I would say Unloved by Peyton Corinne. I say this as someone who doesn't usually read hockey romances, who hasn't read a lot of them, and the ones that I have read, some of them have been kind of meh for me, but this one is special. It follows this girl, Ro, who is tutoring this guy named Freddie, and he has dyscalculia, dyslexia, and ADHD, but he's just trying to finish his degree so he can go off, finish college, and join the NHL because he's already contracted out with them. And Ro is dealing with a lot of issues with her boyfriend, with her personal life, and trying to get into medical school. That's like her goal. And so it's about their relationship together. It was a really intense story though, and it's really beautiful. They have a lot of trauma that they have to overcome before they can be together. And I think that Peyton Corinne's writing style just really resonates with me. I think that this is a book that defines my reading taste. And for people who don't really connect with the story, who probably don't have reading tastes that align. So I think this is one that if you don't like it, maybe our reading tastes don't align, because most of the people who are mutuals of mine that have read this book have really enjoyed it. All right, the next question is, what's a book you love so much that you don't care if others don't like it? What's the one book you love enough for everyone? I think this answer has to be obvious. It's Outlander. I know this book is not for everyone. A lot of people that have told me that they just really couldn't connect with the writing style, that Diana's prose is too wordy for them and they didn't like it, but that's okay. It's a book that I can love enough for everyone. I will always recommend this book cautiously and the series, and even if other people don't like it, it will remain a favorite of mine. I always tell people to give it a shot. The historical aspects of the story, the romance, and even the time travel always keeps me hooked and engaged, even through some of the more slow, dense, and boring parts. But I know that not everyone can get through that, so I don't blame people if they don't really connect with it, and it's not a deal breaker to me, or our reading tastes can still align even if you don't like this book. Okay, the next question is, what's in your trash pocket? What books, tropes, or themes that you know are bad, but you love them anyway? So a series that I know is just very poorly written and constructed is the Selection series, but it holds a special place in my heart. I love it so much. It's like candy. I had a great time reading through it. I breezed through the 3 books, and they're just a great fun time. It's a series that you need to read with your brain turned off though, or you're gonna be bothered and irked by a lot of things in it. The story is just super addictive and fluffy, and it doesn't have a lot of substance or do justice to the themes that it's trying to convey, but I really enjoy it, and it's one of those trashy books that I will always enjoy reading. All right, and then the next question is, do you have any deal breakers in books? What is something that if it's present, it immediately turns you off? The biggest deal breaker I have is the love triangle trope. It's almost always a deal breaker for me, and it almost never works for me. I think that it can be really distracting, especially if it's long and drawn out, and I just get very frustrated with the main character. I find it very annoying, and the indecisiveness of the main character just grates on me and gives me whiplash, so I can't get behind the love triangle trope usually. Also, if a book is overly flowery and its writing style just is descriptive, but there's nothing going on with the plot, the characters aren't developing, nothing else is happening, I feel like that also loses me. It's a deal breaker. I can't read books just for the setting. I need to have characters developing or a good plot going. A mixture of both would be great, or else I really cannot finish that book, and those are major deal breakers for me. Okay, the next question is, what's a strong opinion you have about a book that released in the last year, whether it's overrated, underrated, or you just need to share this take? So Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I haven't talked a lot about this book yet because I haven't done my wrap up, but wow, do I have a lot of thoughts and feelings on this. First, I think it was a major waste of time, and it was deeply disappointing for me. It had so much promise and potential at the beginning of the book, and the relationship just never really progressed beyond the point of being physical. Like, I get that they are physically attracted to each other, that's why they get together, but I just don't really see the development of their emotional relationship happen later on. And I don't mind smut in my books as long as there is an emotional connection, but I felt like that really didn't happen. There were a few other things that also irked me, especially the fact that the main character's best friend is pretty terrible to her in this book and to her ex-boyfriend. She is guilt tripping both Vandy and Lucas throughout the book numerous times, and I'm just sorry to say that Pen is straight up a dislikable character. She's not a nice person, and she is one of the major bones that I have to pick with this book. I'm so sad about it because it was one of my most anticipated reads, and it was one of the 25 books that I wanted to read in 2025, and to have it be such a disappointment is just such a shame. I expected so much more from Allie Hazelwood's writing, and I hope that other books of hers will vibe with me more and will be ones that I can relate to better. Okay, the next question is, what do you look for in writing? What makes a book stand out to you? Is it the prose, styles, themes, voice, structure, or something else? The biggest thing for me is the prose. This is what I look for in a story. Is it accessible to the general public? Is it overly flowery? Is it written succinctly? Is the book elaborate? I think that those are the things that really affect my enjoyment. I really enjoy descriptive styles as long as they're not overly descriptive or overly flowery and it's detracting from other aspects of the book. And honestly, if you can be a little bit more succinct, I sometimes prefer that. You don't always need to use 20 words when 3 will do. I have that message for Diana Gabaldon and other really long-winded writers out there. I enjoy those books still, but it kind of detracts some of the enjoyment from me. I also can get bored with writing styles that are over descriptive, and I enjoy books written in prose as well. I think that they're really unique and they give the writers a little bit more stylistic freedom to express themselves, so I appreciate that. Okay, the next question is, how do you decide what to read next? Do you plan ahead, mood read, or follow external factors? And for the most part, I try to plan ahead. I always make a monthly TBR, and this acts as my guideline for the books that I will be reading that month. Of course, I don't fully stick to these TBRs always, but I try to. And I tend to pick these books from books on my most anticipated lists, continuing series that I'm in the middle of, any arcs that I have pending, and anticipated releases or backlist books that I've had on my TBR forever and ever and ever. However, I am a mood reader at heart, so if none of these books are calling to me, I will put them to the side and pick something else up if I'm not feeling them, but I don't want to force myself into a reading slump by making myself read something that I was just not in the mood for. Okay, the next question is, where do you get your inspiration for your booktube content? What sparks your video ideas? Do other creators, trends, and personal reading experiences affect your booktube content? And I would say that I'm inspired by a lot of booktube, book talk, and bookstagram creators. I'm on all 3 platforms and I try to get a lot of ideas from them. Obviously, my video ideas are unique, but they're often inspired by ones that I've seen other people take on, and I think that I would really enjoy making and other people might enjoy viewing. I also love participating in tags and trends. I think this is super fun, and I'd love to do more reviews and vlogs about my reading experiences because I think they have a lot of value for the viewers and they're just fun and cozy to watch. I know some of my all-time favorite content to watch are reading vlogs, so they're ones that I definitely like to make more of in the future. Okay, and then the next question is, if you could make any book go viral right now, which would it be? A book that you think deserves more attention and why? So I would say Muted by Tammy Charles, or a book like it, because I think it needs to receive more attention. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this book, and it's written in verse, it's so well written, and it shares themes and topics that I think are very important to discuss. The power imbalance and abuses that are present within the music and entertainment industries as a whole is something that needs to really be addressed, and I feel like it's not very talked about. Or if it is through like the memoir lens and not necessarily through a fictional book. And I think that it should be acknowledged how early fame can damage young girls and it can be detrimental to their development. We hear so much about Disney actors and Nickelodeon actors and all of that have drug issues or issues later down the line because the fame really got to them and affected them. So it's a conversation that we should be having more as a society. And finally, who are some booktubers with similar reading tastes to you? So I would say that the booktubers that I tagged down below are going to be booktubers that are of similar reading tastes to me, and if you want to take on this tag, I highly recommend it. It's such a great time and you really get to explore a lot of things about your reading taste in this. It's a very thought-provoking tag for sure. Alright, so that's going to be it from me. If you like this video, give it a like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any opinions that you'd like to share about your own reading taste, I'd love to hear it in the comments down below. Wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, I hope that you are doing well, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye!